Hello guys, I would like to talk a little bit about how to make sense of CAT's complex context-bound declarations. If you're new to CATs, it is probably something that might frighten you away a little bit because even if you're familiar with context bounds. So let's just look at first what context bounds are. In Scala 2, you would use implicits, the implicit keyword to declare this context. And then, so for example, so what a declaration like this meant was that you're looking for a type class, an implementation for org. And it's going to be looking for that in the environment, and it's going to pull it in and use the implementation. It's a little bit like implementing an interface with I mean, in some sense, like with inheritance, you like implement an abstract interface with an implementation. This is just a totally different way of doing that, but it's the same kind of concept. You pull in these implementation classes based on the interface type. So the difference is that with inheritance, you would extend a class to fill in an interface with implementation, right? Which creates close coupling, and there's a lot of literature against that as an ANI pattern. What you do with type classes is more like a composition-based approach, where you have to have implicits. You put implicit declarations in your code, and the Scala runtime finds those implicit declarations and pulls in the implementations. This is what you're looking at here. This is a CAT's list of type classes, and each of these type classes has to show up as an implicit in your application. And when it's pulled in, your application is or the CAT's library in your application is extended with this additional functionality. So that's the role of type classes. As you're adding these implementations, by adding these implicits for these type classes, you're adding additional functionality to the CAT's library in your application. You know, you're expanding of what pieces of CATs you're using. So I think many of you are familiar with what type classes are, and in the simple kind of way, then Scala 3 changes implicit to using to make it more clear what this really means. So there's a shorthand notation for this, and this starts getting a little more cryptic for most people. The shorthand notation looks like this. So you can use this shorthand a:/org, which just means org bracket a. So org bracket a, and you can leave this entire thing off, and then replace it with a:/org, and in that case you leave this at the end off. So basically, these context bounds, this is like a simple a version of it. But when you look in when you look in CATs, you will often find something like, let's see, this is an example. So what do you do when you this is from sample code, somebody else's sample code. If you see something like this, how do you read this? What you read, because sometimes you get an error message, and it's going to start complaining about sync or logger, and you need to figure out what's happening. So you need to understand what these complicated context-bound specifications are. The way the easiest way I I came up with, or the most practical way I came up with to read these in a kind of a practical day-to-day sense, is that these type classes have to be present, all of them, for the code to work, for this code to work, because it's going to be looking for them and it's going to try to pull in the functionality from them. So when you get an error message from this, like type class not found, or implicit declaration is not found, what you need to remember is that these things normally when you work on your own code, and you might implement a type class, you have to manually declare the type class. Like here, there's an implicit declaration for logger, right? That's what most people end up doing when they use implicits. They manually declare an implicit. But with major libraries such as cats, what you typically have to do is much simpler. All you have to do is you import the implicits, and you you import the type classes, the relevant type classes. Sometimes you don't even have to import all of them, because they kind of pull in the rest of them. You might just have to import a few key classes. Like here, I'm importing just IO and IOApp, right? And everything else is coming along with it. So the key takeaway here is that when you get an error message that a type class is not found, the answer is not to try to figure out exactly which ones are missing and try to add them one by one with implicits. The answer is typically much simpler. You just have to import the relevant high-level declarations, and those will pull in, and the implicits, and those will pull in everything you need. I hope this is helpful. If you guys have arcane cryptic error messages related to missing type classes, don't hesitate to post a comment, and maybe we can find out together what was missing, and it might be a good puzzle for us, because some of these errors can be actually quite cryptic and might not be so easy to decipher. So please post a comment about them, and if you get stuck, and let's try to figure out together what they mean.